he wasn't a rock star salesman. I mean, he's not, this tremendously amazing salesperson.
Right.
He's disciplined. He was coachable. He listened. He followed the system, and he didn't feel like, he never wavered from the system. He said, Michael, you tell me this works, I'll go do it. And he did it. And he just did everything I told him to do all the time. And let me tell you, man, he was successful doing it. Worked very, very well for him. And we've duplicated that with others. I took a 21-year-old one day. I hired a very good friend of mine. He's 21 years old. Just came back he had served a mission for the church for 2 years, and just barely came back from his mission, and was looking for work. And I said, hey, you know what? I'd love to have you work with me. And he came on board, and that guy was listing over 10 houses a month as a 21-year-old kid for his first month working with me. And subsequently he decided to get out of real estate. He actually wants to be an oral surgeon, so he's a super smart guy. Mm-hmm. But also he realized sales wasn't for him. He just doesn't want to be a salesman. And yet here he was listing over 10 houses a month.
Wow.
Now imagine what you can do with somebody who's a salesperson.
Right, exactly. There's probably a lot of agents on the call with kids, 21, 22. Maybe they're not doing too well in school. Maybe they're not even going to school. Can we send them to you, Mike?
It's funny you mention that, because I actually have several coaching clients that are in that same boat where we literally, they'll say, hey, Michael, I've got a team right now, great team, and one of my favorite coaching clients, just a terrific guy, and he has a listing agent, and I'm coaching, and it's not the team leader. I'm doing coaching calls with the team leader as well, but we coach the whole team, and so when we're coaching with somebody, and so his listing agent now is going through this mental process, and he's a great salesperson. The challenge there is he just needs to learn to follow the system and to understand that, hey, look, if I just do X, Y, and Z, it will work. I just have to have confidence in myself, and I have to have confidence in the system, and I have to trust the system and work the system, and it'll work for me.
So you can be extremely wealthy, make a lot of money, enjoy great success, work 4 days a week, and still have balance in your life. You can do that if you're willing to just be disciplined. Because right now, Mike, I have to tell you, I'm somewhat disappointed. Honestly, I have to tell you that, man. I'm a little disappointed because I was expecting something really, just blow me away with something just some strategic phenomenal just strategy, something just over the top and out of this world. And you have just boiled it down to what we've always known, and it is people who work hard get paid. It's back to the basics here. And so is the reason why many agents aren't experiencing success is because of the L word? Is it laziness? Is it lack of discipline?
I will tell you this. I am a firm believer that anyone in America today, anyone in any market right now with this economy can be hugely successful if they truly want to be and if they're willing to work hard for it.
You just have to make the decision, right?
I don't care how dysfunctional you are as a person. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're fat, skinny, you're tall, you're short, you're, Caucasian, you're African American, you're Hispanic. I don't care what background you came from. If you're broke, you live in the ghetto, you live in a mansion. I don't care what your background is. If you want to succeed in America today, you will. And here's the thing that's really frustrating about Americans. Anybody else from any other country learns 2, 3, 4 languages. In America, we are lucky if we learn one, if we learn our own language well. And you know what? When somebody from a foreign country comes to America, why do they succeed? Why? Because you know what? They look at America as the land of opportunity, and they didn't come from a place where they don't just have one TV, but they have 4 TVs in their house.
Right.
Everybody's got one in their bedroom. They came from a place where they don't even have TV. They're lucky if they got power.
Right.
And they come here and they crush it because they're willing to get up every day, and they don't look at their weaknesses. They don't look at, hey, I don't speak real good English. Hey, I don't understand the system here. No, they look at it like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to bust my butt every day, and I'm going to be successful because I don't have a choice.
Wow.
And that's the thing that agents need to really find out today. They got to dig deep down inside, and they got to decide, okay, what is my why? What is my reason for succeeding? And people are motivated, Eric, by one of two things. They're either motivated by hope for gain or fear of loss. And in all reality, more people are motivated by fear of loss than anything else. And now is a great time to be motivated because people are losing everything right now.
Right.
And so if you want to avoid losing everything, what do you have? What choice do you have? Get out there and crush it and make it happen. Just do it.
Well, Mike, man, you've got me all excited. I want to go out and list something right now. Oh, I can't sell real estate and do loans. Doggone it. You know, I don't know about you, but if you're listening to this call and you're not pumped up and ready to go crush it, then, geez, I don't know, go see somebody. Therapy, something is needed. Because perhaps this is not for you. Operator, let's open up the line for questions and make the announcement. And then, Mike, I'm going to ask you to talk about number 3, and then we'll try to get to all the questions on the phone. Operator.
You bet. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question at this time, please press star followed by the number 1 key on your touch-tone telephone. If your question has been answered or if you decide to remove yourself from the queue, you may press the pound key. Once again, if anyone does have a question, you may press star and then 1 at this time. And one moment for any questions.
Now, while we're going to wait 1 second for the operator. Just let him line up here. Mike, number 3, make it good, man. Make it good.
I love it. You know, people are always waiting for that magic pill, Eric, and there just is no magic pill. It's a lot. You know, it's like if I start in Europe and I'm in the Titanic and I want to get to New York, if I'm off course by 2 degrees, I'm going to end up in freaking Jamaica. And life is like that. You know, it's not a huge huge correction. It's a series of little corrections over time. So number 3 is just like that. It's super, super simple. What is number 1 was lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was lead follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
And here's number 3, lead conversion. That's it. And it's super simple. And lead conversion, let me tell you, if you can handle numbers 1 and 2, I can teach you number 3 no problem. You know, once we get you doing numbers 1 and 2, number 3 is just skill set. We can teach anybody how to convert. It doesn't take a moron can convert if they're taught the right skills. Mm-hmm. But here's the issue: numbers 1 and 2, those aren't skills; those are attitudes. You know, I can teach you how to generate leads, but you have to have the right attitude to go do it. And I can't fix your attitude, but I can certainly fix your skill set. So if you come to the table with the right attitude, success is a foregone conclusion. That's easy.
Lead generation, lead follow-up, and lead conversion. And lead conversion, Mike, just give us 1 or 2 practical things, or what are some of the stops when it comes to lead generation? How do some people fail in converting those leads to sales?
I will tell you, in real estate today, and mortgage, both, in real estate and mortgage today, people have lost the ability to close. They have lost the ability to ask for the sale. And that's, I'll tell you, that's mission critical. You have got to ask for sale, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get.
Right.
And so here, let me give you a tip. Let me give everybody on the call an easy close. This is one that I've used on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of listing appointments and successfully listed thousands of homes with this close. Thousands. Super easy. All you ask, and remember, you're shaking your head back and forth as you say this. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork?
Are there any other questions before
we get started on the paperwork?
We get started on the paperwork.
And you're shaking your head back and forth the whole time. And let me tell you, that is the most powerful close, and it works time and time and time again. I could take somebody fresh out of high school that's never sold a house before, put them in an appointment, have them follow a script on the appointment, and make sure they ask that last question, and they're going to list homes all day long.
Wow. Operator, let's take our first question.
Once again, if you do have a question at this time, please press star followed by the number 1 key. And I see no questions from the phones at the moment.
Okay. All right. No problem. So that is a great closing statement. And are there any other questions before we get started? And so obviously if they have a question, you answer that question, and then you restate that close.
You know, it's funny you say that, because literally I have, at the most times I had to restate it, and I've done that, and that's exactly what I do, Eric. If they ask me a question at that point, I'll answer their question, and if it's I usually try and keep it very succinct. I don't go into great detail when I'm answering the questions at this point in the conversation. So I keep my answers succinct, and I will restate, are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? And I'm telling you, literally, I have had to do that 12 times on a single appointment before I got the signed listing. And I did get the signed listing.
Well, that's it's so simple. Everything. I guess it's the simplest things in life that, are the most beautiful and also the most powerful. And you just laid out for us, 3 very easy ways. And this is, on listing property. This is on REOs. We really didn't get a chance to go into detail in regard to who to talk to in regard to REOs. How are you identifying REO asset management companies? So there's quite a few other questions that we have for you in regard to that, Mike. We're going to put out another request for questions, and if there are none, I'm going to have you talk a little bit about those things, and then we're going to wrap it up right at 11:30. Operator.
We do have a question now. Our first question comes from Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Hello.
Your question.
Yeah, I was wondering, where do you find the asset managers to go and meet face-to-face?
And everybody has that question. That's a great question, Robert. And I'll be honest, right? The problem is everybody's looking for the asset manager. What you need to start with is quit looking for the asset manager. Start looking for people that have relationships with asset managers. And it's a paradigm shift because, people go to these conferences and they just attack these asset managers, and it's irritating to the asset managers, and the agents think, well, if I can just get my card in front of them, if they'll just take my business card, they're going to send me business. Nah, they're not. Seriously. You need to establish a relationship with someone who has a relationship with that asset manager. So the key here is quit looking for asset managers and start looking for those relationships. And I'll tell you, as you do that and you stop trying so hard to get them to do business with you, oh my gosh, the business just flows in, because now what's going to happen is you're going to meet an agent in, Topeka, Kansas, and this agent in Topeka, Kansas has a relationship with a couple asset managers, and you develop a relationship with this agent, and you say, hey, I'd love to meet one of your asset managers. Why don't we, go fly out there and we'll take them to dinner together. Mm-hmm. Or we'll hook up with them at a conference or something like that. But you establish a very low-key meeting, and you're not there to ask for business. And that's another huge mistake agents make, is asking for business too soon. First, you have to. There's 3 things. There's a 3-pronged approach to this: give, ask, receive. And what that means is first you have to give them something. And I don't mean give them money, and I don't mean, I'm not talking about all this under-the-table BS stuff that's happening out there. That's not what I'm talking about, because don't get involved in that. It's terrible. People are going to go to jail for it. Don't do it. What I'm talking about is give them some kind of value when you get that meeting. And then you can ask them for business at some point, but they're not going to give you business at that first meeting. They're going to give you business when you've had either a couple of meetings with them, or you've had a meeting and a couple of follow-up calls, or a couple of emails. And it's not going to be emails and calls about business. It's going to be emails and calls about them personally. And when they know you care about them personally, then they'll start to test you out professionally.
So, Michael, talk about the value. When you say give something of value, and we understand you're not talking about anything illegal. What are some of the value-added things or statements that an agent like Robert can make?
The most important thing you can do is to bring relational value to them. What I mean by that is, if I'm in Texas and I'm meeting with an asset manager in Texas, chances are they either hunt or they're into football or something like that. And so I'm having the conversation with them. I'm asking them about these things, and eventually it comes out, yeah, I'm a big football fan. Awesome. Who's your favorite team? Well, believe it or not, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm actually from Minnesota. I'm a big Vikings fan, so I love watching the Vikings and blah 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 blah. So what do? So you follow up with them later with a good story about the Vikings, or